much. Mr. Balaskas, you represent the industry. So what problems, what are the challenges for a mining company operating in Europe with heavy regulation and the heavy standards? And what needs to be changed in order to have endogenous production of minerals?
This is, I think, a long discussion, but I'll try to contain it in 4 to 8 minutes. First of all, I'd like to say that before the Critical Raw Materials Act initiative, mining in generally in Europe, it was the poor relative. It was not addressed. I think now the events of the pandemic and the geopolitical struggles in Europe with Russian-Ukrainian war brought it to the forefront. And especially as we start thinking how we will move and build the electricity-driven, clean energy and transition, and also achieve net zero economy, and at the same time achieve the very ambitious neutrality goals of EU, raw materials and mining came again to the forefront. So we need to address it. We need to address the security of supply. We need to address also the huge gap that you mentioned about supply and demand, and actually produced as much as we can in Europe. Explore Europe because it's underexplored. Change the legislation to allow exploration in Europe. Also make it so that the permitting processes also in Greece, but in Europe, and to be really more efficient, more effective, in a shorter time frame without making any rebates on social and environmental control. To do it in a most sustainable way. This is vitally important. And that's what we're trying to do also with Eldorado Gold and Hellas Gold in Greece. I may want to inform the audience what I believe, at least, and I have in my list as raw materials, critical raw materials. I read from the list. It's aluminium, it's cobalt, it's lithium, it's nickel, silver, zinc. Copper, of course, is my favorite one because it's that we have in Skouries project in North Greece in Chalkidiki. The gap of copper production in 10 years' time, it will be probably around 20 million tons, where the global production is currently 20 million tons. So you can imagine this is huge. So changes in the permitting framework, faster. But last and not least, it's fostering the license to operate legally, politically, and changing this approach that it has been widely accepted in Europe in the past, that we shouldn't be doing mining in our own, not in our backyard. Let's change it. We want EU, we want the Greek state to update, to educate, to communicate with the public so that the reputation of mining is restored. Now, in our case, maybe it's worth repeating that there is a critical raw material to be produced in Greece, in Skouries project, 780,000 tons proven reserves, and this will bring a lot of jobs, 5,000 direct and indirect jobs in the local communities, $2 billion revenues for the Greek state, $4 billion US dollars revenues in procurement, and at the same time it will allow and give us the opportunity to invest 80 million US dollars in the corporate social responsibility projects. Things like that do not happen easily, and these are in mining for indirect investments. They're not investments in shares in the stock exchange. This is the real economy, and that's where we need the support from the EU, where mining projects are included in projects of common interest. This is vitally important. And also to include it at the same time as project of importance of overriding public interest. This is something that we need to be seeing more and more in order to address the security supply that we currently have.